Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. Now, I recently wrote an article over on my column at Cyber News about how, as an environmentally conscious citizen of the world, you might take shorter showers, add LED lights to your home, recycle responsibly, and ensure that all your electronic devices are never left on standby. Unfortunately, though, there's only so much we can all do in the battle against climate change. And many are starting to turn their attention to the actions or inactions of some of the world's biggest corporations. In fact, any business, because customers are now voting with their wallets and they're choosing companies who are pushing for a greener world. And for businesses, going green can be incredibly intimidated. Who do you trust? How exactly can you make an impact? And is it actually possible to do all of that while growing your business? Well, I recently came across a company that is leveraging technology to help make every business climate positive. And that company is called Handprint, and they're on a mission to empower businesses to make a positive impact on the planet with just a few clicks. And Handprint is a tech platform that looks to better bridge the gap between business activity and sustainability initiatives by tapping into consumer action. And with technology, Handprint is striving to ensure that every sale is climate positive, while also ensuring transparency in all financial transactions by leveraging blockchain. And today, Handprint works with NGOs such as Worldview International Foundation, the WIF, and some of the world's leaders in reforestation and mangrove conservation, and even counts the likes of Swiss-born food and beverage firm SaladStop as one of its earliest partners. So I invited their co-founder and CEO and now friend of the show, Mathias, onto the podcast today to talk about how businesses can better integrate their sustainability investments in each and every consumer interaction. So buckle up and hold on tight, because it's time for me to beam your ears all the way to Singapore, where Mathias is waiting to speak with us right now. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, thank you for having me. So my name is Mathias. I'm the CEO of Handprint, a climate tech startup. You can probably tell from my accent that I'm French, but I live in Singapore since 2014. My background is in engineering. I've been into technology since a very young age. Started coding at 12, created websites and software in a time where creating a website actually meant coding it. Along with technology, my other passion is sustainability. I've been interested in nature for as long as I can remember. Before Handprint, I have previously set up a connected garden company, a garden tech startup. And I've been advising companies in the sustainability space on technology-related matter through my previous consultancy company. And it was actually while doing that I met my two co-founders at Handprint. They are two academics and NGO leaders who created a crowdfunding technology for reforestation. And while working with them, what became incredibly clear to us was that their technology was solving a much larger problem and could be applied to a much larger use case. So that's why we created Handprint, which is a sustainability toolbox that helps companies to easily become planet positive.
Love it. And there will be a lot of people tuning in and hearing about Handprint for the very first time. So can you tell me a little bit more about this e-commerce plugin and how it actually works? Maybe walk me through how it actually works and the value it offers to businesses.
Maybe first about the concept of Handprint itself.
Yeah, sure.
You're probably familiar with the concept of a carbon footprint, which is the negative impact we all have. So think of Handprint as the flip side of the coin. It's the sum of all your positive actions, like reforestation, coral reef conservation, education support. It's what you do good for the planet. And about our product, so Handprint simplifies sustainability for corporates. It's impact as a service, in more geeky terms. In reality, we are a multi-sided marketplace. On one side, we digitize impact projects like coral reef recovery, reforestation. And on the other side, we enable companies to integrate those bite-sized impacts into their business model to basically green up their business model. In terms of technology, what our technology enables is transparency at two levels. The first is how the money is used. So when you make a donation to an NGO, like who received the money, when, how it's being used, for what exactly. And then the second level of transparency is how much exactly your contribution benefits the environment in terms of carbon absorption, in terms of support to biodiversity, in terms of social impact. We quantify and track all those metrics and make it available for companies, basically.
I love that. And also, before you came on, I was reading that long gone are the days where a growth at all costs mindset was enough to survive in a hyper-competitive climate. And today, 84% of consumers around the world say that they try to shop at brands that support the causes that they care about, pointing the need for brands to take on a more vocal and visible stance on issues such as sustainability. So it seems that you guys are a perfect fit right here. But can you set the scene and tell me more about how research has found that companies with superior environment social governance record see a greater likelihood of becoming high quality stocks and are actually much less likely to go bankrupt too?
It's a very interesting one. Another very interesting statistic is that companies that do engage in climate action grow 3 times faster than their competitors, which is huge. And it tells a lot about the demand from consumers. Consumers now demand companies to take action. They are voting with their wallets, literally. And that is a trend that has been amplified by the COVID crisis, for sure. In terms of research, there is this very interesting Harvard Business Review study that has been published in 2019, where they interview senior executives from 40 global investing firms, including BlackRock and the big ones. What it shows is that the idea that large corporates and investors don't care about sustainability is untrue or outdated, basically. There is a clear demand and awareness among large entities that sustainability is and should be a priority. And this is where Handprint comes in. Handprint is designed to ensure that positive impact goes hand in hand with business activities, rather than only, treating it as a separate siloed endeavor. We've planted 10,000 trees at the end of the year. We've done our part. We really try to link that to KPIs and to the specificity of each business, basically.
And in this age of digital shareability that we're all in now, how can a business and a business leader, for example, listening to our conversation today, how can they leverage novel technologies to maximize the visibility of their sustainability initiatives to appeal to a social media savvy generation? Because sustainability is a huge topic right now, but it is much more than a buzzword. It really is about making a difference, and you can only improve what you can measure, isn't it?
Yeah. I would say that in our case, we use technology not really to maximize the visibility, but more to make environmental impact trustworthy and impactful. But Handprint is also designed to make positive impact shareable by companies and digital. So consumer habits are largely based on instant gratification, right? Whereas tackling environmental issues and fighting climate change typically have longer timelines. So to still be able to provide instant gratification to consumers, we have developed visualization tools that are updated in real time for companies to showcase their impact in real time. So that makes their impact really shareable, to answer your question, and digital and interactive as well, because consumers can really interact with them. It can be, I just give you a few examples. So we have clients on their website, they display our tools, which are, for example, an interactive map of their impact. So where is the reforestation happening, how it evolves over time. We even have a live feed of photos, videos that are coming from the ground. And we also have impact metrics, like quantified metrics about how much carbon their contribution has enabled to absorb, how much carbon will be absorbed in the next 20 years, thanks to them, what is their impact on biodiversity, etc. And it's true that for companies, it's also a very powerful tool for communication. But what is important is that it's credible data.
And beyond a growth for growth's sake mindset, how can businesses better integrate their sustainability investments into each and every consumer interaction? Because that seems to be an incredibly cool part of what you guys do as well.
Yeah. So we are a sustainability toolbox. So companies of different sizes and different industries can use our tools. The key is really to link positive sustainability actions to KPIs, so that achieving business success is automatically linked to sustainability improvements. In the example of a social media platform like Facebook or Instagram, that could be the number of likes or the number of minutes spent on the platform that could be linked to a certain positive action that is made configurable on our platform. For Google, it could be the number of searches. For YouTube and Netflix, the number of streaming minutes, for example. And any kind of business could tie their business objective with a certain goal in terms of sustainability. And this is all made possible and automated on our platform in just a few clicks.
Wow, incredibly cool. And I'm curious, as someone that's working right in the heart of this industry and surrounded by emerging technologies, how are new technologies paving the way for cost-effective sustainability investments, for not just for the big businesses, but for businesses of all sizes?
Yeah, so cost effectiveness is a big question, right? Because you want to know when you're contributing to an impact project, you want to know, well, like how efficient your dollar is. And today, the problem is that up to 80% of the funds directed towards impact projects are actually absorbed by intermediaries. It typically goes to verification bodies, broker fees, bank fees, fundraisers. Plus, these organizations are not really digital, so not really automated with lots of overheads. So using technology, we cut all these intermediary costs using different technologies like a smart contract architecture to automate the cash flow, how the cash flow is dispatched all around the world, using remote sensing. So this one is the fancy satellite imaging that we use to automatically verify that the projects are conducted following a schedule and that the right type of impact is created for each contribution. We also have a stream processing technology that aggregates basically millions of carbon compensation requests or planting tree requests or coral reef conservation requests all over the world from all of our merchants, consolidate all of this data to automate payments and accounting, which makes us scalable from day one.
Handprint is a tech platform that looks to better bridge the gap between business activity and sustainability initiatives by ultimately tapping into consumer action. So can you tell me more about the kind of problems that you set out to solve and your mission to ensure that every sale in climate positives and assures that transparency is in all financial transactions by leveraging blockchain? Because again, incredibly cool.
So yeah, we use blockchain is one of the several technologies that we use to solve a specific problem, which is the transparency of transactions and how the impact is reported, which creates not only transparency, but also public accountability towards an ecosystem of players. In terms of technology, the fundamental problem that we're solving is the supply side problem. The problem that we're solving on the supply side is that today, NGOs are pretty much like black boxes. When you make a donation, you don't know how the money is going to be used. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be used in a bad way. It's just that you don't have access to this information. It's not tracked. It's not converted into data that you can use, basically. Or it's in a Excel sheet report at the end of the year. It's not digital. And on the demand side, we solve our customers' pain points by developing an ecosystem of products. Our platform is not a donation platform. It's an impact marketplace where companies can purchase positive actions that create benefits on the environment. A purchase comes with a service whose performance is quantified and tracked over time and made accessible to our clients and to the clients of our clients. On the transparency specifically, because it's a very interesting point you're raising with the transparency of financial transactions. It's one of the pain points of the industry, but it's not the only one. And we've come to realize that companies want to engage in positive actions that align with their values and with their mission. So we've made our technology very customizable for companies. They can basically configure it in a way that automates like a positive impact that really looks like them, rather than, like this current setup where we speak a lot about carbon offset, carbon compensation. It's really abstract for people. No one really understands how it works. We are linking the story of the brand to an actual project that is concrete, that you can see growing over time.
So for people listening, can you walk me through how the Handprint e-commerce plugin works? Just so any business leaders listening will be able to understand how it could work in their world too.
So our e-commerce plugin is one of the tools that we have on the platform. It's personally my favorite tool because it automates. So it's an automation tool. It automates how e-stores create positive impact with every purchase that is made on their e-store, basically. So using our enterprise dashboard, companies can configure and integrate a banner that is displayed at the checkout process of their e-store. Why do we integrate here specifically? Is because you have more than 80% of carts that are abandoned by consumers worldwide. People fill their cart with products and don't actually complete the checkout. They don't actually pay. And by linking the purchase to a positive action that we show to the consumer, we're seeing very interesting data of optimizing the conversion at that checkout page. So it's also a tool for companies to increase their KPIs in terms of conversion and all. Our configuration tool is mostly, I would say, made for small and medium brands, small and medium consumer good brands that don't have developers in-house or that don't want to spend money on developers for these kind of initiatives. So basically, without any technical background, you can come to our platform and just in a few clicks, make your e-store greener, basically. Big brands are more likely to use our API to develop their own banners using our technology to first display real-time metrics coming from our platform and send us requests of automated requests through our API of carbon compensation, plant a tree, recover 1 square meter of a coral reef, etc. And so one setup, like those banners or those plugins create automatically a positive impact as the company sells their products.
And just to further help bring everything to life that we're talking about today, do you have a concrete example of a company that you're helping to become climate positive and how it works with them? I mean, you don't have to mention any names, but I think the use case would be really helpful.
I can give you names. There is this company that I really, really like. It's called SaladStop. It's a food chain company here in Southeast Asia. It's a company that I love because they are really at the forefront of sustainability. And they have integrated Handprint to empower their consumers to make their orders 20 times carbon positive. They also use our visualization tools on their website to showcase in real time what is their impact. So how many trees they have been planting, how much carbon those trees have absorbed, what is their social impact. They showcase photos, a live feed of photos coming directly from the ground, updated through our mobile app that we give to our impact partners. So it's an ecosystem that is working well, and this company is really great. We also are in discussions with major ride-hailing companies on how to integrate Handprint capabilities into their consumer app to make carbon compensation a bit more interactive and a bit more user-friendly. Because learning is key for consumer, for them to understand what's happening in the real world when they opt in or out of this climate program that companies are setting up through Handprint on their consumer app. I think it's really key.
It really is. And I think more and more conscious consumers now are looking to big brands and businesses to make changes like this. And if they don't, they will shop elsewhere. So what is it that excites you most about a tech platform that looks to better bridge the gap between business activity and sustainability initiatives by tapping into consumer action?
I think the key word here in your question is consumer, right? Most companies are very much aware that consumers are now voting with their wallets. So we are trying at Handprint, we're trying to use consumerism as a lever, as a positive agent of change. We're trying basically to crack capitalism to make it actively good for the planet. So we really want to transform the extractive economy we live in, where basically companies extract resources from a planet that cannot cope with it anymore, into a regenerative economy where every transaction, every purchase, every interaction between a company and a consumer creates positive impact on the planet. So we imagine a future where the sum of your positive and sustainability contribution will basically become part of your identity. Just think of yourself walking into a job interview in 3 years' time, and the first thing the recruiter asks is, what's your handprint? Just for them to know if your actions align with their values as a corporate organization. So that's what excites me most, basically, to answer your question.
Absolutely love that. And I'm not sure how much you can share with me, but what is your roadmap for the next 12 months? And are there any key milestones that you're aiming for this year?
So we are currently raising a new round of funding to scale, to enter new markets in Europe and USA, and to develop more products to further help our NGOs to be more digital and our companies to integrate more positive actions into their business. We now are a team of 17 and are just starting to recruit a team in Europe, as we are experiencing a very strong traction with European companies, especially in France and in the UK. Also, in the next 12 months, we are entering a new space for us, which is the offline retail space. with a POC with a major alcohol brand. It's so basically they are going to put a QR code on their bottles, and once scanned by the consumer, it triggers a positive action in the real world, like plantation of a tree, conservation of 1 square meter of coral reef, regeneration of seagrass, ocean plastic cleanup. And the consumer will be able to interact with that interface. So not only he's able to make an action, but also track the benefits of this action over time in terms of carbon absorption, in terms of different metrics that we have. See like the area where it's happening on a map, and see that evolving over time. And this is really key to our strategy, and really linked to our consumer app as well that we're developing. That's what's happening in the next 12 months for us. Very exciting journey.
It really is. And for anyone that would like to continue to follow you on this journey after listening to this podcast, or find out a little bit more information, or even contact your team if it's a business leader, what is the best way of finding you guys online?
So our website is handprint.tech, TECH, where you can find more information about the platform. If you have an e-store on Shopify, you can directly find us on the Shopify App Store. We also are available on WooCommerce and Magento, but you can directly come to our website. We also are on social media, on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Also, I encourage companies that maybe develop similar technologies or address the same market to reach out to us, to explore collaborations, because I feel we all are in the same team, and we shouldn't look at this market, the tech sustainability market, like how traditionally capitalism has encouraged a hardcore winner takes all mindset. So we've developed open source technologies that we'll be very happy to share with teams that are aligned with us in terms of objectives, which basically is saving the planet.
And I think that's something that's important to each and every one of us. And it also seems that you're uniquely positioned there to observe and share insights on digital sustainability trends, not only in Asia, but in Europe too. So you do have fantastic insights there. And I love how you're helping businesses leverage novel technologies to actually maximize visibility of those sustainability initiatives that we're talking about here, and how those same technologies are paving the way for cost-effective sustainability investments for businesses of all sizes. I always say at the end of every episode that technology works best when it brings people together, but what you're doing goes well beyond that. So kudos to you. I'd love to stay in touch with you, but more than anything, just thank you for taking the time to share that vision with me today.
It's both leveraging digital technologies, and also we have a role of curation, because companies are lost. They don't know what to do for the planet. Are they going to partner with WWF? And all those small scale projects that are not good at marketing themselves, they don't attract funding, whereas they actually have a much bigger impact. So we've developed a framework that assesses impact projects, so that companies can really understand, like, okay, what is this impact project? Oh, it's very efficient in carbon absorption. Oh, this one is really strong in terms of female empowerment because they hire a lot of unskilled female labor, for example. Or this one is very strong in terms of regeneration of ecosystems because it creates this habitat for this kind of species. So we also have this kind of curation role, which is extremely important.
That's a beautiful moment to end on. A huge thank you again for sharing your passion for this and for really making a difference to our planet too, using technology. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
What an inspirational guy and company there, because in this age of digital shareability, Understanding how businesses can leverage novel technologies to maximise visibility of those sustainability initiatives to appeal to social media savvy generation and the Gen Z audience is quickly proving to be critical. And if we dare to look beyond a growth for growth's sake mindset, it's also inspiring to learn how businesses can better integrate their sustainability investments into each and every consumer interaction. And like I said in the closure to Mathias there, their bite-sized approach and how new technologies are paving the way for cost-effective sustainability investments for businesses big and small. Incredibly inspiring and so much food for thought. And as I said in my recent article on Cyber News, which was called How Big Tech is Racing to Reduce Carbon Footprints, I think it's now time to stop doom scrolling and use technology to bring us together rather than divide us. And if we can all, both businesses and individuals, try to imagine the possibility of big businesses, governments and global citizens daring to put our differences aside and committing to leveraging technology to empower everyone to make a collective difference to our mutual home here on planet Earth, it doesn't get much better than that, does it? Technology bringing people together. And you might say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. But I won't burst into song. What I will do, though, is implore each and every one of you to email me. Tell me your thoughts on sustainability, how we can use technology to bring us all closer together and solve real-world problems. Because no matter what our political beliefs may be, we all have to reside on this planet. Until Elon Musk allows us to all to fly to Mars, we need to look after the home that we've got. And it is such a big talking point right now, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. So good, bad, indifferent, whatever it is, email me now, techblogwriter@outlook.com. You'll find over 1,500 other podcast interviews over on my website, techblogwriter.co.uk. If you connect with me on Twitter, LinkedIn, don't just follow me at Neil C. Hughes. Send me a quick message. Send me an audio message that we can play on a future episode. Other than that, I'll be waiting in your podcast feeds once again, bright and early when you wake tomorrow. So a big thank you for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.